Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let us talk about timelines in Jira because this is going to be really important if you're the product manager or actually the project manager that needs to keep track on how the project is basically doing, how the features are doing, how if there are actually some of the overlaps between the work items themselves and so on and so forth. So when you go to the timelines themselves, and this is for the software project in here, so you're going to be first seeing one thing, and that is that you'll actually see that this right here are indeed the epics. And this is because when it comes to software projects, timeline is based on showing the epics, and everything is going for the epics. Why? Because it's just like that in the agile methodology, where basically everything is going with the definition that epics are at the highest level of your work items. Everything else is dependent on the epic itself. So how this actually really works in here. So if we expand this, we're going to see that within this specific epic, so this is the parent work item in here. So this is the child item. So actually see this that for example, for child work items, we can indeed see this work item key, that it's actually definitely in there. Now, you may be asking, well, if this epic in here is actually being done, that basically means that everything else should be done within the parent work item as well. Yes, that is correct. So that actually means that what we're having in here is this needs to be done. So it's a really bad practice, as you actually saw from this example, is to have parents to be actually to work items to not be done. And now, if you actually have noticed, when I clicked on done, it is actually now having this green bar right here, basically indicating that definitely this is actually being done. Now, of course, what you can actually do in here, as you can see, it says create an epic. So you cannot actually go in here and change something to be a different work item type. Well, basically you can, but in order to actually do this and in order to include the other work items in here, then you would actually need to change the whole work item hierarchy, which will be applied across your whole Jira instance, which is something that is not really recommended, especially to have tasks and to have stories within the epics to be at the same level, because they're not at the same level and they shouldn't be at the same level. For those that are actually doing this on the same level, this is actually really bad practice, and it is not recommended to actually do something like this. So what you can actually do, of course, from here is you can go ahead and create a child work item in here. So for this specific project, I have, for example, I can also create a bug, and I can say error in linking the work items, for example. Of course, when I hit enter, it will be automatically created in here, and as you can see, it's under this parent. It's under this parent work item in here. The interesting thing is, if we actually go in here, we're going to see that on this timeline right here, we definitely have this indicator right here. So what is this bar right here? So if we actually scroll down, we're going to see that this is indeed a due date. Now, in here it's saying that basically this is overdue, which is definitely true because it's not 30th of September anymore. So definitely actually being in there, and that everything is in place. So how you can actually do more of this, for example. So if we were to actually expand this, right? So we can say, hey, this, we don't have the start date, but the actual due date is actually in here, and it's still, the due date is, well, right there. So what we can actually do, let me just expand it a bit more. So if you go to our bar right here, it's not overdue. So that is something that you can actually fix, indeed. So these are interconnected, but the thing is, out of the box, if you actually want, your parents' work item to be actually really connected with this, in the terms of, if all of the work items have been completed, then this item needs to be transitioned into done. This is something that you actually do within the automation rule itself. So this is not something that comes out of the box. Of course, we can create a new epic in here, and I can say, for this epic, I can say something like, page for, it's not landing page for our e-learning platform. Let's go with that. Create it, and what I can do here is I can specify in my timeline right here that when I click on this, what actually happens is I have a start date, and I also have the due date. So it's like taking 13 days for all of this to happen. Whoops. There. Okay, something didn't actually went according to the plan. All right, so that was not really something that I want to have. As you just return it to today. So that's my bad. So as you can see in here, this is what the timeline actually can help you out with. So you have all of these different, so the view actually per each day that you can have in here. You can have for the months, this is the most used one, or by them quarters in here. So this is another option that you can, of course, include. Now there's of course an option to actually collapse that, so it could be much more easier for you, or we can actually do more collapsing in here. So as you can see, a lot of options in here that you're being given. Now, if we take a look a little back, we can actually see what was going on in here. So definitely we can see from the August and everything else, basically start date and the due date and everything was actually being done within that. So since this was a project, it already had that configuration right there. And here is something that we're actually that we have created right now. Now, if you're asking yourself, what is this? So these are your dependencies. This actually means that two epics can be connected with each other, and there could be the dependency between them. So what this actually means, for example, if we are having our e-learning platform, so when we're actually doing our e-learning platform, and when we are having, for example, and this is something that features, like 90% of the websites on the web have these two features, and basically those are the sign up and the sign in features. So you cannot have the sign in feature before you have the sign up feature. So that is the thing. So we can actually do something like that. So instead of naming this to be, we're gonna say sign up page. I'm gonna go for another epic right here, in page. All right, so these two are definitely connected with each other. So this actually means if we're starting with sign up, then we also need to have sign in, right? So we can add this to our timeline in here. And what we can actually do is we can drag this like an attachment, and we can definitely see that we are having linked work items in here. So this is something that definitely actually exists. Now, it says basically like blocks, which is not really true, the truth here, because it's not really blocking anything from here. So we need to update this definitely. So let me just go to the issue itself in here, and it's actually being adding blocks, but that is not true. And it's saying, hey, it's being blocked by. Okay. Well, definitely it's not something that is true. So let me just remove this. A new one. Now, so it's sign in page. So this actually means that this, oh, there's a lot of them. Okay. Mitigates risk, merged into, so there is no like depends, deploys, no, none of this is connected to sign up page. Link those two together. Good. Let's go back here. Let's go to our timeline. Probably there's an automation rule that has been added for this. But what happens, so we're having sign up and we're also having a sign in. So we're having 25th, and there is a due date, which is all good. And we also have that this is actually connected to. So what's happening in here? So if we actually go here, it's basically saying, hey, this one is blocking the another one. And we can actually see the dependency details, and it's saying that basically dates are overlapping each other. So that is not a good thing. So we need to think of something better here. So if I put it right here, it's gonna be better. Work items are not visible because of the filter itself, which is okay. But also, what it's saying now, this parent work item ends before its child work items are scheduled to complete. Ouch, that's not good. Because if we actually look at this, well, this is something that is happening in here. Not good. All right. So if child is also depending, okay. And outside of the date set for this parent work item. That is actually correct. And if I go now back, it's not gonna create some chaos. All right, so because yeah, it's different. It's a different date in here. So it's actually going here. But wait. It's okay, but this is the dependency that is actually doing the blocking. We're not fans of the blockings. But then again, as you can see, this is like a Gantt chart of the view. Of course, if you want to export this, you can export in the CSV. Not sure how that is going to work, and also the image also have the option to configure the timeline, where you can either enable it or disable it. Of course, your timeline can contain child issues, which is the most common thing, or it doesn't actually have to contain it. So if we are looking in here and we are doing this dependency thing, right? Yeah, this dependency is still going to be saying, okay, this is being blocked. Now it does not block. That's not it. But in the end, I believe that you get the idea. So you have the status category in here and basically all of the needed steps that you can basically do within the epics themselves and within the timeline itself. So I can go in the business projects, but it's going to be a long video and it's been already too much. So I'm going to stop it here. And basically that's it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. See ya.